For some time now, I've been trying to make a counter-attacking tactic that uses a 4 at the back system with one midfielder because I want to have that nice 4 block and then the 1 striker, and today I've come up with the perfect combo. It is going to be the 4-1-4-1. It's very attacking and very counter-attack inspired, but if you like fast-paced football, a ton of goals and a lot of fun, this is going to be for you. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let's get into it. We're going to start today off with one of the better attacking teams in Europe. That is going to be Liverpool, of course, very well known for their counter-attack and style, more under Jurgen Klopp. Now they actually can control a game quite well, but we did have a great amount of success with this team, and of course it is going to be the man of Liverpool in Mo Salah that is going to light up the Premier League. 26 assists, 28 goals, with, you know, it's Mo Salah, probably the best winger in the Premier League in my opinion, a very good player, and you know what, he never lets me down inside of Football Manager. We also go on to win the FA Cup 2-1 over Arsenal in quite a comfortable victory there, and the Carabao Cup we also lift 2-1 over Manchester United. So do you know what? We're beating 2 big teams there in Arsenal, in United, and the league we only do lose 2 games, and both of them were against Man City. So luckily we beat everybody else because Man City clearly had our number, but apart from them, no one else could handle us. Now in terms of the team stats, 106 goals, 676 shots, only 201 shots against us, good amount of dribbles, hardly any goals conceded, a good amount of clean sheets. Possession, we're not going to be on there because I will say, if you are a possession head, you like the ball, this tactic might not be for you. And I'm saying that early on in the video because 1, I respect my viewers, and 2, I don't want to waste your time because this is a very, very, very counter-attacking only real tactic. You're not going to have tons of the ball, you are going to defend well and score lots though. So if you like the sound of that, do carry on watching. The data hub, we are going to go over and score 2.79 goals a game, which is fair for the Premier League, only 0.42 conceded, a good amount of shots, the pass completion quite high, higher than I expected to be honest, and a good amount of the ball being won with a 77.61% tackle win ratio. So overall, I see a team here that's scoring goals, defending well, winning the treble, key players performing well. It's looking good. Of course, a very good team in Arsenal. We are going to face them in that FA Cup final. And I tell you what, right now, we get off to a great start with Darwin Núñez, who goes through and tucks it past Raya, who I will say had a stinker against United. Have some of that, Arsenal fans. Sorry, it had to be done. Arsenal do get back into the game with Martinelli, who is going to drive at the back line. And do you know what? Fair play to Arsenal here because they do create a goal. And when Havertz is scoring, you've got to question if the game's realistic. But hey-ho, he is going to get his goal. We're then going to bounce back and actually win this game in the last kick of the game with Cody Gakpo driving at everybody, plays it into Chiesa, back through, it's horrific from Gabriel, and Gakpo, he capitalises. I'm going to go over and have a very interesting season with Stuttgart. Now again, whatever results I get, I do include in the video, and the league finish is nothing to boast about, but what really impressed me here is a good Champions League performance, a Pokal win against Bayer Leverkusen, which was a very close game in 3-2 fashion, and also the Super Cup we are going to beat Bayer Leverkusen 2-0. Now this entire season was done using the defensive version, so it is a bit more of a safer option, and I will say the league finish isn't that great. I'm not going to hide the fact from you there, but the fact we are doing quite well in the Champions League, getting past the league phase, winning 2 German trophies, it definitely is worth using in the Bundesliga. And in terms of the stats, yes, we're going to be 8th in pretty much everything, but overall, just the trophies we won, it says a lot about how far you can get with this tactic, and I do think if I hand played this season, used all 3 variants, it would have been a lot more smoother. Now in terms of the data hub, I look at it and it is of course going to be quite close in terms of the stats. So in the actual league, I would argue it didn't do that great. But again, I showcase the results we get and you decide whether you want to use that version of the tactic or not. Again, this was the defensive version of the tactic. Juventus, it was coming up, is going to be using the default. Liverpool was the attacking. So despite the stats not being pretty, we are going to win 2 trophies, and sometimes trophies, that's what counts. That's what keeps managers in jobs. It's actually quite funny to see because in the Pokal final, a lot of people might think we started off quite slow because it was a close game. We've seen the result, but we actually go 1-0 up here inside of 8 minutes. So on the attack and front, we were so good to the point of where we actually find ourselves actually going 2-0 up with Reader into midfield looking for that sort of in behind run. Yundav is going to find the star boy up front or star man up front who is going to make it 2-0 inside of 36 minutes. And we were that good on the attack and front we were the team that went 3-0 up from the penalty spot in, oh, that's a David Raya dive, that is going to be a 3-0 lead in 43 minutes. But our weakness was towards just letting them get back into the game just after that first half ended, into the second half. A great 1-2 there with Schlick. But I feel like the scoreline done us a little bit dirty because we were so good at the back the entire game. Their second goal only come literally in the 89th minute, so despite it being quite a close scoreline, I'm going to say it, we dealt with Leverkusen quite well. Then we go over and test with the big boy Juventus. Now, we absolutely thrived in Italy. Italy, the Bundesliga, you can counter-attack quite well in, and we done just that. Now, not only do we win the league by quite a big point advantage there over Napoli, we also are going to come in and have some real key players. Timothy Weah, Nicolas Gonzalez, Dusan all perform very well. The best at scoring, the best when it comes to defending, and we also are going to pick up that Italian Cup on penalties, and the big one, the Champions League. We'll watch the highlights for that one. We're not going to spoil it. Now, even in this tactic, we are going to see us not have much of the ball, and I'm going to keep stressing this because people need to understand that not all tactics are all about possession. You can go into a game and honestly come out with 35% of the ball and still do very, very well. Obviously, we are doing more than that, but goal scoring wise is there, shot wise is there, defensively, we are absolutely incredible. And even when it comes to not having shots against us, we are also very dominant in that regard as well. Now, the stats bang on 3 goals a game, only 0.53 conceded, a good amount of shots per game, a tidy pass completion, and the tackle win ratio actually on the up, nearly approaching 80. So a very good defensive record, and I think that's only fair we go and watch the Champions League. It's only fair. So against Madrid, it was never going to be an easy game, and that obviously sort of come into action because we do go 1-0 down from a Jude Bellingham masterclass. I will say a great goal. We do get back into the game literally about, 90 minutes or so after, with Nico down the left, a stinker from Courtois, and the game goes all the way to penalties. Now, the penalty shootout I'm going to actually include in the video because Real Madrid had some stinky penalties, and I will say it was always going to be a close game, and with a tactic like this, you can expect to concede against Real Madrid. That's pretty fair to say. But as long as you can get to key points of the game, being a penalty shootout, extra time, you are still in it. And at the end of the day, sometimes the game does go to this stage of the game. The penalties, we saw it literally in, the game United v Arsenal the other day. If you can just hold on to it, you can come out on top. And therefore, we did that, and we won. To go over and make this tactic, if you are enjoying, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will say, if you do personally enjoy rebuilds, do come over to Daily Josh. It's going to be in the description, and I'll pop a thumbnail on the screen as well. We post rebuilds once every other day, the same as the tactics, so there is a piece of content from both of my channels together every day. 7 videos a week. You get 3 1 week for tactics, 4 rebuilds, and vice versa. So it switches up. Make sure you are subbed to both because we're going full ham with the content. So hopefully I see you over on Daily Josh very shortly. Now, to make this tactic, all you want to do is go over and hit create your own style, and we are going to load in just a 4-4-2 for now because the shape is like, well, it's like no other. Now, don't worry, it is going to change from this a little bit, but we're just going to have this foundation. We're going to build it up from here. So, in terms of the actual mentality, you have got to be very careful with how you play football. Now, because of how attacking it actually is, we are going to keep it on balance because the shape alone is a bit of a full send. So, you don't want to go too attacking in the default variant. In the attacking one, that will change, but for the default one, keep it nice and simple. Now, in terms of the goalkeeper, we are going to operate simply with a normal goalkeeper, funny enough, on defend, not too risky at all. We're then going to go with 2 fullbacks, and both of them actually are going to be set to defend. Now, very rarely will you see in my tactics, any other tactics, people operate this way, but when you see how attacking this tactic goes at the top, you'll understand why I've kept it quite humble at the back. Now, both of these fullbacks are going to have 2 instructions. Both of them are going to be mark tighter and also set to tackle harder. Now, again, incredibly important instructions because I want them to be quite tough to get past. I want them to be quite close to their man, not easy to sort of dribble past and, get a ball into the box, because at the end of the day, with this counter-attacking tactic, we are expecting to concede goals, but let's not do it for the fun of it. We'll try and be quite solid at the back. And to sort of back up that point, we are going to operate with 2 ball-playing defenders, and they are also going to share the same mindset as the wing-backs, both of them marked tight and also set to tackle harder. So that is going to complete quite a reserve back line, and a back line that isn't really going to see the ball players dribble more, anything crazy like that. It's going to be quite and simple. Now, I will say, if at any point in this video you fancy saving yourself a bunch of time and getting all of these perks, you can get all of my tactics, all of my rebuilds, get them on console, get them on mobile, one-on-one tactical help and access to this month's giveaway, which usually is around, it's a pretty big prize pool, because at the moment the support has been absolutely unbelievable on the Patreon, and I love to give back when and if I can. And at the moment we have got an exclusive deal of 20% off for the rest of the month, so make sure you come on over and get involved. Now, going over to the actual sort of where this system does sort of take place, we are going to instantly drag these players up here. So this is where the tactic gets a little bit unique, because not everyone has played this way, not everyone's even attempted or seen this way of football. So we are going to look to add in the DM. Now, this player is going to have a lot of instructions, and when I say you need the instructions, they're not on for fun. They are on because he has such a big role to play in the team, and you have to get it perfect. So let me remind myself of what I had on, because there's a lot of instructions. So we have gone with more direct passing, we have gone with take more risks, dribble less, we've gone with shoot less, hold position, and also tackle harder. I'll leave it on the screen there for you to copy as well. This player needs to sit where he is, sit deep, not roam about. I want him to be risky with the passing, because he is going to hit one. When he passes the ball forward, he has got 5 players to look for. It will go to somebody, so I want him to be quite quick, actually, in the distribution. But when he's not got the ball, just hold the position, tackle harder. I don't want him dribbling with it either. I don't want him shooting. Get the ball back aggressively, ping the ball forward. That is all you need to do, nice and simple. Sounded quite aggressive there, but the player needs to listen, so he needs to do that very, very well. We're then going to go over and look for the wingers. Now, with the wingers, I've gone with 2 supportive wingers, and again, they have got a lot of instructions for very good reason. Those are going to consist of, let's get into it, take more risks, get forward, roam, close down more, and also set to tackle harder and mark the position. So on the left, they are going to mark the right hand side. So that is going to be quite a fair few instructions, 6 instructions on the left, and you best know it's going to be the same on the right hand side. The only difference is, of course, they are going to mark the D in brackets L, because they obviously flip round. So again, we're going to go with take more risks, we're going to go with get further forwards, which is this one here, we're going to go with roam, we're going to go with close down more, and we're also going to go with tackle harder and marking the position. So it should be nice and mirrored, the players looking exactly the same. That is a ton of instructions. Don't worry, it does get a bit more simple with these 2, as we are simply going to go with 2 AMs, and both of them are going to be on moving into the channels, roaming, and also tackling harder. That is both of them. So actually it's quite simple, because your 4 players, your left wing and your right wing, are the same, and your 2 central are also exactly the same. The fullbacks are exactly the same, the ball players are the same. It's actually a perfectly mirrored tactic, finished off with a default advanced forward, so it doesn't get much more simple than that. Now, in terms of the actual instructions, we are going to go all the way up to a wide attacking width. We're going to pass into the space, overlap left, overlap right, focus down the right, focus down the left, the tempo maxed out to higher, run at defence, hit early crosses, and that is going to be all she wrote. This is a very, very, very direct attacking tactic that, you know, is not for people that like short pass and play. We're going to run at the team, get aggressive, get the ball in the box, and not mess about. We're taking no prisoners, goals, goals, goals. In transition, we're going to counter press, counter, distribute to the flanks, and take short goal kicks. The great thing about distributing to the flanks in this scenario is it will go to the wingers usually, but also it does find them AMs who do eventually drift out. So you've essentially got 4 players that can go to, and it is a very safe way of playing football, and also quite aggressive. Out of possession, we are going to look to deploy the high press with the standard line, get stuck in, and that trigger press is going to go up to 1 to more often. But of course, as you know, if you've been on this channel for a long time, we have got 2 other variants today. The first one is going to be the defensive version. Now, this is designed for if you're trying to seal out a game. I wouldn't recommend necessarily playing an entire season. You saw what happened with us with Stuttgart. It does work, but I would say you could probably get away playing the balanced version of a team like Stuttgart. The only way you should really use this tactic is for trying to defend a whole game out with, to be honest, because it does do that very, very well. But over an entire season, you could face a few games which you could have won using a bit more of an attacking version, so make sure you bear that in mind. Now, the goalkeeper does remain the same, the ball players remain the same, the back line remains the same. The DM, only 2 instructions, hold position and tackle harder. The winger on the right, and on the left are going to remain exactly the same, but of course drop down a fair bit, as does the entire forward block. The CM comes in on defend, on pass at short, take fewer risks, shoot less often, and also tackle harder. The box to box comes in simply on support, on get further forwards, and the advanced forward, well, he remains exactly the same. Now, going over to the out of possession, by the way, it does remain unbalanced. We are going to operate with a mid block. I want to show this first because it's very important you have this on to be very defensively solid. The trigger press is going to remain the same, and we are simply going to have it on get stuck in. Now, going over to what is going to be the in transition, let's go and see that. Comes to the in transition for the defensive version, we are still going to counter press, we are still going to counter, slow the pace down because obviously we're trying to waste time, still play to the flanks, and simply take short goal kicks. The in possession, there isn't too much that changes, to be honest with you. We're still going to go with the wide approach, we're still going to pass into the space, well overlap on left and right, and of course focusing down the wide areas. The final third remains the same, hit early crosses. We are going to go slightly more direct on this occasion. We are going to have time wasting introduced a little bit onto sometimes, run at defence, and if you don't mind sacrificing a bit more of the ball, you can even play for set pieces. That is up to you though. The attacking version, again, we are going to full send it, and this again should only be used if you're a goal down, you want to try and outscore the opposition even more. This will get the job done, but it is a lot more attacking. Now, in terms of the back line, there isn't really too much we can do without fully sabotaging the tactics, so the back line and the DM do remain the same. What is the big difference is that the wingers both go on to attack on roam, close down, tackle harder, and mark on the positions, alongside of the other 5 default attacking instructions. The AMs both go on to attack on roam, move into channels, and tackle harder, and the advanced forward also does remain the same. We're then going to go over and talk about the team instructions, because we are for the first time going to go up to positive. This is the max you should go to, really the maxed out you should go to. The attack and width is going to go to wide. We are still going to keep this exactly the same, so I'm not going to waste your time with it because it is literally a dead replica. The tempo is going to go to higher. The passing will technically be classed as slightly shorter, but it is going to be quite direct. We're going to run at defence and also be more expressive. Transition, what you'd probably expect, the short goal kicks, moving the ball to the flanks, counter press, distribute quickly, probably what you'd expect. It always is roughly the same, but just tailors to more an attacking side compared to a defensive side. And out of possession, we are going to deploy for the first time again quite an aggressive approach of the standard line, the high press, much more often, get stuck in, step up more, and that's going to give you 3 versions of the 4-1-4-1 counter. Now, this tactic is not for people that love loads of the ball. It's not a possession-based tactic by any means of the imagination, but it will get you a load of goals, and it does set you up in a bit of a unique way of playing football. It worked incredibly well with Liverpool. It worked very well with Juve as well. I will go and say this right now. Champions League winners against Juve, and of course, even with Stuttgart, we didn't really dominate the league, but we did obviously win 2 trophies, so in my opinion, a big success. If you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and once again, you can comment below any tactic you want to see, or go over to the second channel and you can comment any rebuild you want to see as well. It's never-ending content. I'll see you in the next one.